Well, attempts to broker a peace between Russia and Ukraine have failed so far, and Russia has recently said they want to win the war. One major issue on this discussions of peace is what happens to Ukrainian children who were forcibly deported to Russia from the beginning of the war. Well, Russians admit to taking hundreds of children. Ukraine says the number is closer to 20,000. John Jessup reports.
Following an attack on Kherson, this Ukrainian, injured by shrapnel, picks through the pieces of his shattered home. Yet some losses in this conflict are irreplaceable.
Some of the youngest victims of that war, victims stolen from their homes.
Russia is taking Ukrainian kids from their parents in many cases, trying to turn them into Russian kids, which they call a humanitarian gesture.
Since the 2022 invasion, thousands of kidnapped children have become obscure casualties of war.
Да, вот на ухе сережка, да, это он. Как всегда обиженные.
Taken from their homes and forced to create new lives in a foreign place.
We were taken to Russia whether we want to go or not. We were just sent there against our will.
Ksenia Kolden's nightmare began when Russia destroyed her northeastern border town. After spending years together in foster care, war separated Ksenia from her younger brother, Sergei. Russian troops sending Ksenia to a technical school and Sergei to a camp and ultimately a Russian foster family. After being expelled for failing to adopt what she calls Russian propaganda, Ksenia planned a daring escape to Ukraine, then ran into trouble trying to convince her brother.
He told me that I do not want to return back. I want to stay in Russia because nobody needs me in Ukraine. There is war there and there is a lot of Nazis there.
After being brainwashed, they don't want to communicate. They're really afraid because through Russian propaganda, they believe that Nazi will kill them if they will come back.
Mykola Kuleba runs a rescue operation for these stolen kids called Save Ukraine. He says Russia's playbook aims to erase the kids' identity and replace it with Russian ideology and fear, all with one goal.
Its main intention, main strategy of Russia to brainwash our children and to recruit them to Russian army.
According to Ukraine's official count, 20,000 children have been forcibly deported in the last 3 years of war, though that figure does not include Ukrainian kids taken since Russia annexed Crimea in 2014. Kuleba contends many end up fighting against their homeland.
Thousands of young adults who've been Ukrainian school children 10 years ago now killed in battlefields or sitting in Ukrainian prisons as a captured soldiers.
This alleged war crime prompted the International Criminal Court to issue arrest warrants for Vladimir Putin and a top Russian deputy. Kuleba sees Putin of being guilty of far worse.
I'm sure that in 10, 20 years, whole the world will prove and will wake up that, oh, it was genocide.
So far, Save Ukraine has returned with more than 600 children after dangerous rescue missions across Russia and occupied territories. The team also provides counseling and reintegration services for kids and families displaced by war. Kuleba credits his call as a child advocate to American missionaries who introduced him to the gospel after the fall of the Soviet Union.
I ask God every day, God, what can I do? How I can serve you? It was so clear from Jesus that I'm sending you to save these kids and to change their lives. We are saving our country through saving children.
That calling brought Ksenia to Kuleba's team for help and her brother to freedom back in Ukraine.
We're very happy and I'm happy too because we together in Ukraine at home.
She's now sharing her journey, even traveling to the United States to raise awareness.
Now I have a mission, a very important mission. I'm the voice of thousands of children and orphans who were kidnapped by Russia. My story is a clear example of how Russia abducts Ukrainian children and turns them into Russians.
A story she's bravely telling so that other stolen kids will not be forgotten. John Jessup, CBN News, Washington.
This is absolutely horrific, and it is clearly a war crime. These children are hostages, and they've been taken by Russian troops and then indoctrinated, and it's just absolutely horrific to then be trained to be soldiers to go back and kill Ukrainians. It just doesn't get any worse than this. It's absolutely horrific. I hope the international community wakes up to this crime and wakes up to what the Russians are doing. They're clearly the aggressors in this war. And to say that Ukraine is Nazi or neo-Nazi, and that's why they're fighting this war to stop the Nazis, that's the propaganda throughout Russia. And when you hear that in the United States, you laugh at it. But in Russia, they're taking it very seriously. And when the member of the delegation at the peace talks in Istanbul right now says, well, we're fighting the Nazis and we want to win this war, well, we all need to believe them. And I hope our current administration believes them and responds appropriately.